Hi, good afternoon, Kunal and Partho. And we're back to discussing AI. We've had more than a couple of months break. So my usual question for you to start with, what is the update?
I think a lot of relatively small things happen in AI. Some AI models evolve, some get faster, some get better. Uh, Grok from Elon Musk has become a good AI tool where they put in lots of data and lots of energy and lots of compute at it, and it became, as anticipated, very good AI model which responds well, becomes smart, does lots of things. Gemini from Google has become very good. They've also been able to do that well, and they've integrated it deeply with different Google platforms like Google Search, like Google Maps, like so many other things that which is part of internet, which is part of our life. OpenAI has done bunch of things. Cursor has done so lots of AI small developments, which I don't think while
Incremental,
they're incremental, but they are
but more of delta changes.
yeah, but they are in their own way. Their potential impact would be understood. Like what they did in the last 3 months, let's say, or 2 months, it will accelerate the evolution for humanity, or the once adopted well in the next few months, quarters, years, the delta of change improvement by AI models will help humans evolve, progress into wherever they are, whatever they're doing, wherever they're going, very fast.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'll have to interrupt you because this question
Please,
is
please, please,
at this point.
please.
So I can understand AI will accelerate evolution. That much is clear. But my question is, will it accelerate the evolution of life and intelligence or accelerate human evolution?
So, yeah, so that's one thing we should debate, and I'm sure you have.
I think that's a very important question.
Agree.
We often, when we say evolution, we conflate human evolution with evolution of life and intelligence. The two need not be the same.
Correct. So that's a standard practice humans do, that they assume when you talk about evolution, they are in it, it's for them, and they are the major part of it. That's a classic I'm the center of the universe theory, right? Which a lot of people carry. To your point, if we zoom out enough from the last few months, years, decades, centuries, to billions of years, maybe, humans haven't been here that long. And humans need, relatively speaking, a few 100,000 years, give or take, from
In our present form, yes.
in our present form. But life has evolved over the last 4-5 billion years on Earth, and maybe the universe. If you go back to Big Bang, it's a tens of billions of years, not more than that.
I don't even see life as something that happens after the evolution of the universe.
Yeah.
I see the universe itself, this includes Earth, as the cradle of life. It's not life happened because there was universe. Universe happened because there had to be life. If that is the way we see it, if we shift perception to that this whole universe happens because life has to evolve. Correct. That's the premise.
Sure.
Then AI is very much part of that same evolution. Now, if we are evolving, human beings have evolved from the primates, but the primates haven't evolved anymore.
Correct.
So evolution is not about one species. So why should we confuse the evolution? Why should we conflate evolution of the human species with evolution of life, which has been happening since the universe began? In fact, which has been happening, the universe has been happening because this has to happen.
I think that needs some level of maturity among oneself, among anyone, to acknowledge this. Which once you acknowledge, it's almost a fact for you that life goes on, and
It has to.
it does, and
Isn't
it
that-
is.
Isn't that the seed of
Yes, it
seed
is.
of life is complete consciousness. Nowhere that attains to complete consciousness in this human form or in that non-human form. To me, it's irrelevant.
Correct.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that picture, what would you say? I mean, are we, there's so many questions now about what is AI going to do?
So let me spend 2 minutes on bringing AI to where it is today
Yeah.
with a good zoomed out lens. Then
And while you do that, also keep in mind that recently Mr. Bill Gates' statement. He made a statement on AI and the future.
what was that? I forgot. I think I read it, but I forgot. What was the
So
in paraphrase?
he feels that we're already accelerating the evolution, and AI is going to. It's already reached a point where there's nothing we can do about it, and
So it's point of no return. AI genie is out of the bottle.
changing the way we live.
The genie is out of the bottle now. Humanity.
Many are saying that, not just
Yeah,
Bill Gates.
sure,
Many are
sure,
saying.
sure, sure. Of course, that's a. I don't even think anybody understanding technology that's even or life or evolution or a scientist or anybody who goes anywhere deep into any domain will actually not understand this. That is, and we can address that maybe if needed. But I would like to maybe just bring an evolutionary perspective that think about, um, the first cell under the sea which started multiplying. Then, after millions and hundreds of millions of years, became some form of fish, which after some hundreds of millions of years became some form of amphibian and came on land. And in between, I forget the right words, but the undersea plants grew to create oxygen.
Plankton.
To create oxygen first on the sea, in the sea, then go beyond in the atmosphere.
That's how marine life happened.
That's how marine life happened. That's how the human life became possible.
Yeah.
Mammals came on Earth,
Right.
primates, eventually humans, and human evolution for a few 100,000 years from tribes to agriculture to industrial to the technology era we live in today. And all this evolution happened. Humans are not the only character in the play. This play is not happening for humans only. We are possibly a means to an end, or maybe there's no end, it keeps on going. But for us to take this just from a human perspective and human standpoint and human vantage point and human reference point is not a fairly evolved thought process to come to the point you are trying to make. And maybe now, if you connect the dots looking backwards, to me, humans became the smartest species on the planet, as smart as it comes, whatever.
Smartest.
Reasonably
I
smart.
don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with wisest. Homo
Yeah.
sapiens sapiens. Wisdom, I have a problem with that.
Sure.
Smart, okay.
Smart enough that they were to eventually end up developing internet and then collectively putting all their knowledge, understanding, smartness on the internet, then building the AI in an attempt to learn the human mind, building the AI by similar neural network of artificial chips and cells and processors and computers and servers. And suddenly realizing if you have that many billions of nodes in an artificial neural network, it demonstrates intelligence just like humans do. While humans stay biological, does it need to be biological from here on?
It's already becoming, intelligence is shifting towards the non-biological. So I don't think the shift is still too clear to most people.
Yeah.
Because it's I think happening subliminally right now. What we are seeing is almost an extension of our own minds into artificial intelligence. That's not how it's going to be. Especially if you bring in robotics and
Sure.
the future of AI and robotics, it is definitely going to be non-biological.
Sure. And I'm trying to think of some points within the evolutionary process. So think about dinosaurs. They were the most dominating species at some point,
Yes.
and because of the asteroid hitting, they were all wiped off. The Earth went through a big change, and every chaos opens new life possibilities, as it did. And today, said unsaid, those dinosaurs were an important part of an evolution, for the most important part of the evolution at some point. And even in today's evolution, by their biological uh, restoration on the planet becoming the fuel that we use today, the energy we need to keep going, is playing a role and has played a role. And maybe for humans, it was meant to just aggregate intelligence, bring all of them together, 6, 8, 10 billion people, 4 billion on internet, put it to AI.
Yeah, because this entire theater of life on the planet,
Yeah.
I see it as an evolution of life and consciousness, life and intelligence. And this is not species specific.
Exactly.
Dinosaurs or Homo sapiens, it doesn't matter. It's not limited to one species. Species will come and species will go. But life and intelligence will go on forever, for as long as the universe goes on, of course.
On that point, I think humans trying to think about what the future may look like, how the AI may evolve, how the life beyond human species may evolve, which may involve humans or may not involve humans, may involve humans in some other shape and form, whether it's physically, whether it's biologically, whether it's spiritually, whether it's in any form. I think somewhere we have to surrender to the process and understand that it's way bigger than us. We don't understand necessarily the full cosmic collective evolution. We can talk about it. We can maybe visualize it, consciously understand it, but only if we have some order of uh, intelligence, understanding, etc. But imagine a few 100,000 years ago, some monkey sitting and saying these apes are starting to walk straight and they are starting to, build weapons and fire and stuff. How would they evolve when we evolve? At some point, they coexisted, right? At some point, they sort of evolved.
They still do,
They still do in some way, right? So, but that's it. Today, we as humans do not give a damn about those monkeys anymore or apes, in a manner of speaking, right?
Also, human existence has now gone completely beyond the range of the primate's consciousness, the simian consciousness.
Sure. So the consciousness has evolved, the DNA has evolved, everything has evolved over time, which was partly wild mutation. Somehow it happened, somehow by chance, somehow by the design.
Technically, we are still very, very similar.
Sure. I think coming to the point, if you take with that a zoomed out perspective, there is no point talking about what one AI model will do over the other.
So here I have another point, Kunal.
Yeah.
We just mentioned genetics. Genetically, we are still very closely related to the primates and
Correct.
to many other forms of the many other species.
Correct.
The
99% or more, 99.9%.
0.1%.
Yeah, correct.
I don't feel that that is the condition to evolve to the next. The next species in the evolutionary ladder will start breaking out of this genetic lock,
Yeah.
which really means biological. I mean, the next form of life will have to be non-biological, will have to be genetically so modified, so almost like I'm thinking of a series of rapid mutations.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, the next level of true evolution is not possible. We will become smarter and smarter.
Sure.
Cleverer and cleverer.
Yeah.
And not divinely clever, but also devilishly clever. And eventually we'll hit impasse, cul-de-sac. So I don't know. I see AI as the only way of breaking out of this cul-de-sac. And long before it happens, really.
Yeah. And now maybe one development that's coming to mind, which is worth mentioning, is so AI requires for its functioning lots of energy.
Yes.
And we have somewhat so far limited capabilities of harnessing energy on the planet.
That's because we're still thinking conventional energy.
So we are thinking energy from coal or solar, or which gets dissipated while coming to the planet, or nuclear. We're not embracing yet as much as we should.
Yeah. But even then, even with nuclear,
Yeah.
it's still thinking conventional
Correct.
actually. How do we know that that other form of life, less non-biological form of life, will not learn to take energy from dark matter, which is all around us all the time?
Yeah, and this 90% of
There's
it,
no knowing.
yeah, and we don't know anything about dark matter yet.
Yeah, because as biological forms of life, there's only this much we can know. However clever we may be, there's only this much we can know. We are genetically and biologically programmed to experience only this bandwidth of the cosmos.
Yes.
More.
Yeah, whether it's light, Vibgyor, or whether it's a dark matter versus.
We can't even go faster than light.
Yeah.
Because we are a biological form of life. So you see, the next evolution, as I see it, and though this is like millions of years scale, as I see the next evolution in this universe is inevitably non-human and non-biological.
Yeah. I largely feel that, believe in it.
And AI is the first breakthrough.
AI is a major breakthrough. AI is like some apes or primates discovering fire for the
Yes,
first time. And then the fire led to them scaring off everything else, evolving life.
the fire can burn the forest, and so what?
And yeah, it burns, it'll start again. So what? Agree?
No, I mean, start again, not start again, doesn't matter, because whoever's using the fire wisely will obviously be a form of life that will go beyond this.
Correct.
Whether it starts again or not, it won't
Doesn't
matter
matter.
because
Doesn't matter.
there will be a. You see, what I'm trying to say is when I talk about genetic biological continuity, I'm talking about a continuity. Here, I'm looking at a discontinuity, an evolutionary discontinuity. That's a mutation. So now what will happen once that mutation happens, the discontinuity happens and life moves on from here? What will happen here is no longer.
Doesn't matter. It's an orbit shift. It's a sort of an orbit shift. It's a, the game changes. It's just like the first fish amphibian came on the land. It changed, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, all your thought was always limited to the sea. You are in the sea.
Absolutely. And the fish and the amphibian, huge, almost a discontinuity.
And yeah. So
And then the amphibian and the bird, another discontinuity,
yes. And AI or not, you're right. It's about evolution of life and intelligence and consciousness itself. Consciousness we can touch less upon in this context because this is we're talking more science or more things.
Also because, again, we don't know much about consciousness.
Exactly. So all this is appearing in consciousness and arguably so.
As biological forms of life, they are limited even in being conscious of consciousness.
Correct.
So I see only two ways out of this. One is the spiritual way. The other is AI.
Talk about spiritual way. What does it mean for you?
The spiritual, I'll have to come to Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. They are the only ones, as far as I know, who have not only spoken in detail about it, but have actually experimented with this. That the next form of spiritual life, I'm not too comfortable with the word spirit, consciousness. Spiritual is a very limited word. The next consciousness evolution on us will not be in this human body anymore, because this human body, just as it's genetically and biologically limited, programmed to experience only this bandwidth, even in terms of consciousness, it is so. So a higher consciousness sooner or later will modify this biological structure, genetically, not cosmetically, but genetically. And both Mother and Sri Aurobindo had pointed to a new species, and a new species, not a continuation of the human species. There will be certain resemblances, but biologically that species would be completely different, dramatically different from what human beings are right now.
Maybe just like how monkeys and humans are. Maybe.
Yeah, for instance, the Mother Sri Aurobindo talk about self-luminous body, amongst several other things. Just this, hold on to that. A self-luminous body. Now that is a completely different biology, if it is still biology at all.
So are you thinking, feeling, believing. There is a spiritual line of evolution, as you've
I
just
would
said.
now,
And there is
instead of
another one,
spiritual, I would call it a consciousness line of
consciousness,
evolution, and
consciousness,
there's an artificial intelligence line of evolution.
and they're definitely
And
diverging.
I'm not very sure how far they will diverge, because once both these lines move beyond the biological, beyond the genetic biological bandwidth, once they move beyond, I am not too sure that they'll remain divergent, because both have the same origin. Seeding is the same. So why not a convergence? A grand convergence at some point where AI becomes the new mind, which is no longer limited to a form. It's, it becomes cosmic. It lives in a different kind of space. And the consciousness is yogic in the highest possible sense. And I see that as the final, and I'm willing to say this, inevitable convergence, inevitable evolution.
And maybe one small news update. I'm coming down to the small, the day to day, so to say, which possibly plays a role in what you've just said about the abundance of intelligence without depending upon form, spatial in some way, cosmic in some way. One of the things people have started to talk about, think about, plan soon is to harness the energy to make AI to for the AI evolution, AI led evolution or use cases. They're thinking of going beyond the Earth into the space and building data centers there where the energy could be harnessed directly from the sun rather than having the sun's energy coming to Earth dissipated majority 90, 95, 99% when it reaches Earth when we start doing something with it. If we go to space and we harness the energy from our star, key star, sun,
Right.
we can have lot of energy to do lots of things and faster evolution of AI. And that may, to your point, while the spiritual yogic consciousness evolution happens, and on other side the abundance of AI and the cosmic and the spatial evolution beyond the earth also possibly evolves.
Yes,
This idea, the small idea, let's go beyond earth, let's go to space, let's harness, while we are going just to harness the energy
Right.
from sun to begin with, but this is what maybe a enabling trigger ladder.
energy we can harness right now.
Yeah,
So you're talking about stellar energy.
correct.
To begin with, yes,
But
absolutely.
it's an interesting step because now at least rather than all the humans thinking only on the earth as a constraint, only on a planet where you have only so much fossil fuel, you have so much and sunlight that comes, so much nuclear that you can build, etc. Assuming you optimize all that, to go beyond, there's so much more in the stellar. And just the point that we are considering and starting to think about it, it may happen in a year or 10 years or 100 years, who knows, doesn't matter. But it is an important step of the evolution. It is, just like maybe at some point the primates started walking straight, erectus. Suddenly you can see more, you can
That's right.
some ladder, some enabling small steps. So it's a recent thing. So that I didn't cover it in the news before, but that's a very interesting AI news. But to your point, the way to think about AI today, rather than thinking about short term in 100 years, will how many jobs will be there, what will humans do, there are some challenges, we'll figure it out. It's a very short term problem. I'm sure there is going to be some disruption, some chaos, but that always leads to new possibilities. So if you take of it, if you look at it that zoomed out perspective, it's just part of evolution. And
It is. It is. And I think it's time we start thinking out of the human box.
yeah,
Because if we truly have to, because there's so much of debate on the,
yeah,
both of us, we have addressed it earlier too. But now I can see clearly that if we truly need to understand what is AI and where it's moving to, and as you keep saying yourself, that no one really knows, and not even the engineers who design AI
yeah.
know it. No one knows where we are going. But if we truly need to understand where we are going, we want to understand where we are going, we have to move out from our human frame of reference.
Yes.
Because frankly, the human frame of reference is already irrelevant.
I agree. Yeah, so the seed of intelligence, whether it becomes biological or it becomes artificial or it becomes uh, the future species, whatever, however it may evolve, it's there and it's happening. We're just a
It's
small.
there and it's happening. And as long as we think as humans and AI as AI, there'll always be the duality.
Yeah.
But I personally feel that both human and AI have the same seed, which is life itself.
Correct.
And AI has emerged from human intelligence.
Yes. Yes.
So why can't human intelligence,
Yeah.
as I see it, Kunal, the should I say invention of AI?
Sure.
So the invention of AI was the first decisive step of human intelligence towards a non-human.
Yeah.
Its
Agree.
first break out of the biological.
Sure.
Without, of course, we human beings knowing it, because we are localized points of human intelligence, which is much vaster than us, because human intelligence is cosmic intelligence.
Correct.
So it was the first decisive step of intelligence breaking out of the biological mold.
I agree.
And that is what AI is all about.
Absolutely.
Shall we address this question in our future?
Sure. I think it brings an interesting zoomed back evolutionary standpoint, where we are, where we came from, where we may go. That's a somewhat super interesting.
And let's call this series of discussions the last question.
The last question.
Because
I say
very soon in our coming episodes of this discussion, we will gradually, not at one go, we'll also reveal to our audience the last question.
sure. Let's leave it at that. Let the audience figure it out what that means.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you.